Stugotz's first order of business right as we turn on the microphones is to turn his head away from all the cameras and then clear his throat. It was gross what just came out of his mouth.
Thank you.
But better right before the mics go on than the first 5 seconds of the show.
Yep.
I caught Stugotz on the way in, rummaging through the back of his car with his ass crack out. That photograph will be distributed nationally in moments.
You know, you saunter on up to me like you care, like I'm looking for something in my car. A key got caught in the seat, okay? And I'm trying to get it. I have sausage fingers. I have fat hands, okay? Thick hands. I can't get into those little cracks in the car, especially in the car seat. Oh, Stugotz, can I help you while you're filming me? I have great calves, though. I got to be honest with you. I've seen this picture. My calves are outstanding. My best feature, easily.
Speaking of your features.
Yeah.
This is infuriating. We are already, David Sampson, we'll get to David Sampson. I don't know.
Hi, Dave.
What we have in our room here, in this side of the room, is difficult, Mike, because I want to get to all of the things Sampson has expertise on, but also PFF has told us that Tua and Van Dyke are the number one quarterbacks in their respective sports.
Wow.
And there's all sorts of football stuff to get to that's exciting, but we've got Sampson here, and Sampson is strong on almost all subjects, but football less so.
We all know that Stugotz is a pathological liar.
What happened?
We know this about him.
Yeah.
Yesterday, we caught him dyeing his beard.
I didn't do that.
Yeah, he said he didn't do that. He put the blame on a makeup artist.
Lucio.
Not thinking that we could cross-reference this, that we could fact-check it easily. So the very same makeup artist was in today.
Mm-hmm.
So we asked her, hey, did you dye Stugotz's beard? She denied the allegation.
The crazy part is we didn't ask. We kind of just assumed he was telling the truth. I was like, I heard you dyed his beard.
Why would we do that?
She was like, what are you talking about?
And if you'll notice right now, before Stugotz tries to snake his way around this, he destroyed the evidence on his face.
Right.
He came in clean-shaven today.
Yep. The L in Lucio stands for liar. I mean,
that's not a thing that's going to help you here. We have caught you brazenly in a lie that none of us understand why you felt the need to lie about. And the investigative team here did all of the journalistic work of just walking into the other room and asking her. And clearly, we believe somebody who has worked with us a few days more than somebody who has worked with us for 20 years.
Yeah, but look at my calves. I mean, whew.
Those are nice calves.
Why lie there?
Why lie there?
Why lie there?
You guys, you've known me now for 20 years. You think I'm dyeing my beard?
Who dyed it?
I have no idea.
Oh, come on. Jesus Christ.
Come on.
Christ, the lie can't fall apart like that.
I mean,
you blamed it on the makeup lady.
Just being honest. I mean,
you're not being honest.
I am.
You're fundamentally incapable. Stugotz, who dyed your beard? The answer can't be, I don't know.
Perhaps it was the makeup person on Monday, and the dye stayed in there. I have no idea.
We have
I wouldn't even
photos
know
of
how
you
to
from
do
Monday.
it. I mean,
you only came in with a dark beard yesterday.
I don't know what to tell you.
What's the thought process? Why? Just look better? Do you think you look better with the dyed beard?
I mean, I didn't dye my beard, David. Intentionally.
All evidence to the contrary.
I mean, he'll just lie. Have you met people like this before? This is pathological, correct? This is like the need to lie about everything it has to be some sort of viral strain.
I imagine if I dyed my beard, it would be for the same reasons that you dye your hair.
Stop saying if you admitted to having your beard.
I just want to know from a line standpoint is what are you getting? Do you get a raise?
What's your line?
I don't dye anything. I don't lie about that. I lie about plenty of stuff.
Don't let him trick you.
Don't deflect. He admitted to having beard dye yesterday.
Samson, don't fall for
I'm
this.
just trying to get to the bottom of what people generally lie to get ahead, to accomplish something.
I thought he was incapable of shame. I thought he birthed all these Trump people who are incapable of shame and have doubled down on shame. But clearly there's some shame here on something, because we've never caught him quite this obviously in a lie where we have video proof, investigative proof, and one star witness that we believe. Clearly, Stugotz has been caught dyeing his beard and then lying about dyeing his beard. Period. We've never caught him like this. He
Dan,
can always slip around it.
the idea that Stugotz is some sophisticated liar is a concept I will never understand. It's very obvious when he's lying. You just kind of let it slide because you're like, am I going to waste 2 days or 2 hours of my life trying to get to the bottom of this? No. Like, I will just keep moving on and get on with the rest of my life.
But
Thank you, Billy.
But aren't you fascinated by the creature? Like, aren't you fascinated by someone crawling around in the media? Do you realize he's the reason no one trusts the media? Because right at the center of it is fake
Don't say
fake
that.
news.
Then he gets a raise. He's not the reason.
He invented lies in the media.
Look at
yes,
that photo
he did.
from
Are
yesterday.
you working for me or against me?
Look at the
It
photo from
depends.
yesterday.
You dye your beard?
Look at the photo from yesterday, David, on your monitor. That is very clearly beard dye, something that he admitted to. Now, where this lie is troublesome is he threw someone else under the bus.
Yeah.
He put it on the makeup artist, who's not Lucio. He put it on Jesse. Yeah. We asked Jesse.
Love Jesse.
Then why would you say that she did this beard dye? Who did the beard dye?
Did her job poorly is what you accused her of.
No.
Did her job so poorly.
You think that that's a good dye job?
Did her job so poorly that you looked terrible on television, and when Mike asked her about it, she might have thought it was reprimand. Why did he look so shitty on television with beard dye right under his eyelids?
But it wasn't the dye that made him look bad on television.
Yep.
It was Stugotz that made
Can we please go back?
Thank you,
Stu?
Roy.
You're welcome.
Yep. And Billy.
Are you still denying it with this evidentiary proof of the before and after? Look at your mustache.
I'm just saying, if dye got in my beard, I have no idea how it got in. I don't know.
Okay,
I mean,
You know what? I'm proud of him.
Yeah, I mean, come on.
Him showing up
This
today.
is your hill.
This is the first time he's been clean shaven in months.
Right?
Him showing up today, destroying
Right.
the evidence.
Yeah.
Such a tell.
We're trying to get him.
Waste of dye.
We're trying to get him work on television, and DraftKings is like, can he look better? And the answer is no.
Oh, sure I can.
The
if I
answer
try.
no. The answer's no.
You see my calves?
We're trying to convince DraftKings that he is a professional broadcasting talent who can groom himself correctly. And we ask him, Stugotz, can you make your face look younger professionally? And the answer is no. I can't clean my face after 17 straight tour dates with the Grateful Dead.
How are you at thrusting people into DraftKings? So do you have to convince them that Stu is broadcast worthy? Do you show a before and after picture? Have you been successful in other instances?
No, this is not my job. Mike Ryan's the one dealing with programmers at DraftKings and the money at DraftKings that pays for shows and resources. And Mike Ryan gets to decide that stuff. I don't make those decisions.
So do you have a hard time getting Stu in there? Like, was the dye your suggestion that he needed to look better?
No, look, I've occasionally dyed my beard when it's longer. It's fine. Just cop to it when you're called out on it. And he did, but he blames someone else for it. He does not want to admit that anyone other than
I
a
didn't
makeup
ask for
artist.
any of this.
Yes,
I mean,
you clearly
no.
did.
I didn't ask for dye.
But
Who dyed your beard?
I have
Maybe
no idea.
maybe your wife put it on you when you were sleeping or something.
perhaps.
Hold on a second. In Stugotz's defense, though, in any normal work environment, if someone comes in with dyed hair, dye whatever, you don't publicly shame
This is
them
not normal.
and try
This
to
is not
pull
normal.
them into admitting
Why we
that they
need
dyed
HR.
their hair.
Our situation here is normal.
You know what is funny about this?
Lawyer up.
I don't think.
We are.
Yeah, they are. They are lawyering up.
Who's we?
I don't. Management of which a part of is Dave. Dave is somehow a part of our management now.
Dave.
My father, this is a true story. He ran a factory in Hialeah, and he would show up one day totally gray, eyebrows, giant mustache, hair, and then the very next day, jet black. Like there was no transition. He would just, and it would just happen again and again, where everybody at work was like, where they would just see him slowly deteriorate, and he would only check in on his grooming there about every 9 months.
Being gray is not deterioration.
Roy.
Roy's laughing. Imagine your boss. He's the plan manager, and they keep seeing him.
He's
come
just
in.
whistling in like, "Hello, everybody."
He's painted his hair poorly. He's painted his eyebrows like they were bushy and gray. And then your boss shows up the next day as if everything is just the same as it was the day before. Do you think Cowherd felt that the day he went on television with totally orange hair? With Trump's hair?
It was so garish that I believe he addressed it early on. And they still run those photos as promo
They do.
photos.
Yeah. Well, why wouldn't you? I mean,
I do want to get to some of the things going on in football locally. And, Billy, I'm sorry the Marlins got rained out last night, although you
That was an inside
didn't
job.
get rained out.
Thank you. Finally.
Billy, that was an outrage. It led off this morning. It's nothing personal. The fact that the Mets screwed up the tarp situation and are causing the Marlins to have this problem this week now.
Well, I mean, it was negligence, right? Because it seems like if you're reading Twitter, everyone seems like this was a nefarious thing. But from what I can gather, and maybe you know better, it seems like they had a tropical storm hurricane go through over the weekend. There was a lot of rain on Saturday. They covered the field. It was wet. They didn't uncover it. The field was all soggy. They just decided we can't really fix this. And then they waited hours and then just decided we're going to just have a doubleheader tomorrow. And that's that.
This is a giant week in Marlins baseball. I don't know the last one like this, David. You presided over it, probably. It has been more than 10 years since we had a week like this of baseball for the Marlins. And the Mets just did something that if they did it on purpose, and if it is nefarious, they just screwed up the playing 2 games in one day it's a competitive disadvantage to have to play 2 games in one day.
Well, and it's not just the traditional competitive disadvantage of having to play 2 and win 2, which is difficult enough as it is, but this was a day where the Marlins were supposed to be primarily using their bullpen because they're so injured in their starting rotation. This was a bullpenning day. And so now you have a day where your bullpen is potentially going to be exhausted after Braxton Garrett's start. He's going to have to go deeper into the game.
Going into a week when you need that bullpen again because you got to save your season to get to the playoffs.
And Braxton Garrett will have to start on short rest, on 3 days rest on Sunday, should the Marlins potentially need to win that game. It's just surprising to me that this game wasn't an optional game on Monday should the Marlins need it. That's the confusion that I have, David.
So I would love to blame the Mets. Had I still been president, I would have lost my mind. But it's actually commissioner's office decision to do the doubleheader. And that's the same thing that they did when the Yankees and Diamondbacks had the issue. There was the question, will they play Monday after the season? And they actually switched around a whole bunch of games. They moved the White Sox-Diamondbacks game by a day so the Yankees could play the Diamondbacks. The reason why baseball doesn't want to play the Monday after the regular season, why there's no more game 163s, is they start promoting and marketing the playoffs, which start in the 3rd, and they don't want to have any regular season games happening at all. So that's why they're having a doubleheader go today. Terrible disadvantage to the Marlins, but they will start Garrett. But keep in mind, Sunday, the Marlins own the tiebreaker over everybody. So all the Marlins have to do is be a game up, and then they don't need to win at all.
They're
on
guaranteed.
Sunday.
Is what they've clinched essentially.
So I'm not pitching
right.
Garrett Sunday.
Right.
If they're going to clinch Saturday, it's possible they could clinch Saturday.
Yes.
So that's what they're going for.
Jeremy and I had a situation or a solution, I think, David, that you may like, and Dan, you may like this too. So in the event that you have, obviously, that you're going to have a rundown bullpen here, we're thinking, who's out there? What do? Do you go down to the minors? You bring someone up for a spot start? And we were talking. Madison Bumgarner is still
perfect.
out there.
Mad
you
Bum.
sign Mad Bum. You
Yeah.
say, you know what? This guy's got 1 game left in that arm. You bring him in. You show some faith
Samson,
in him.
I like that. Instead of Cueto, instead of starting Cueto,
You're not going to start Cueto.
Hold on. Dan, there's more to this. Now there's also the designated hitter. So what do? You solve 2 problems with 1. You say, you know what, Joey Wendell, you're going to take the day off from hitting. We're going to have Mad Bum also hit.
You don't
And the
think Mad
DH is
Bum
gonna
has
be
1
used.
homer left? Come on.
Exactly
Oh, he
right.
does. I think he has 2, actually. Yeah.
There's always a little bit left in the tank, Dan.
Billy, you can make jokes.
What joke?
Joke.
Billy's like my dad, where you can tell by his tone where he's going. As soon as he started talking, I was like, "This is going to be a ridiculous suggestion."
And not only is it
How dare you,
a
sir.
ridiculous suggestion.
So ridiculous.
It's not.
Okay, but Billy, you're camouflaging. This is the thing. Billy's good at this, man. He is really good at this. Billy cares this week. He cares, and he's going to hide his care from you. He's going to hide it because he doesn't want you to see him hurt if they do not make it. This team has hurt Billy. Many times this team has...
That man has hurt me. And you just bring him and parade him in front of my face.
In Billy's defense, Dan, the key to caring is acting like you don't care. I mean,
Billy's been doing the thing this week of they're going to make the playoffs and then get swept in the first round. I don't know what he's doing there psychologically.
I do. Well, that's probably going to happen. And that's why I feel bad. I think that they are going to, well, headed into yesterday, I thought they were going to make it. And then the Braves did the Marlins a solid, which never happens.
No, the Cubs.
The Cubs did them a solid.
The Cubs did the Marlins
Suzuki
a solid.
You can kind of go back
Come
and
on.
forth and figure out if that
Billy,
ball
how
was
good is
called
that?
for, if it
You
should
don't
have
have
been
a
called for.
you don't have a game that you're playing last night, and you can entertain with yourself with, oh, the Cubs are going to Cub again. They're going to drop fly balls in the outfield. That was entertaining for you, Billy. You care.
Well, I
Chris-
hate the Cubs too. But I hate the Braves.
I would have caught that fly ball. Let's just say that.
No, you would
Stop
not.
it.
It is so hard to catch a fly ball.
David,
have
Tony
you
now?
done BP ever?
David,
It is harder.
are you
than
just saying I
think.
can't catch a routine fly ball?
It
Are you
is
saying
not
off the bat in a
routine.
game?
Yes, off the bat in a game.
I mean, I've played softball and caught many fly balls.
there you go.
Moving to my, I'm just saying it's
I
not
stand
the
corrected.
exact thing, but I know how to catch a fly ball.
No, but it is different. 400 feet in the air at the
I'm
warning
ready to go out
track.
to the field if you guys want to do it. We can recreate it.
I'm telling you now that one of the things that you do not realize, and it's a nightmare, when the kids are doing the home run derby. Do you remember the home run derby when kids are catching balls in the outfield
and then they get drilled in the face.
and they get drilled in the face?
Yeah, Chris Cody's a grown man. We could both do this. Absolutely. Catch a fly ball? That was a routine
No,
fly
wait a
ball.
minute.
I'm telling you that neither one of you would catch a ball off the bat
Okay.
of a
This
major
is
league
what
hitter.
I don't think either one of them would catch a punt. I believe I believe all of us would drop
That's fair.
would drop a punt, but
Are the guys running at us?
yes,
Okay.
yes, that's part. Yes, that's part of it.
I get out of the way.
Yes, yes. No, it's not just a routine punt. But now we're
Fair
putting,
catch, and I'm moving away from the ball.
I will grant you guys that you might have been able to make yesterday's catch under certain circumstances, though you wouldn't do it 10 out of 10 times. But going back to the warning track, when you're playing in right field to catch what looks like a routine fly ball, but would not be routine to you, you guys would not catch
Agreed.
that.
0 out of 10 times.
This was a route, like outside of Bellinger coming over, he clearly calls him off. You see the hand gesture. That's a routine fly ball for this guy.
He barely moved.
We can
For
get away
them,
from
it's
whether I would have
routine.
done it. We can get
Oh.
away from whether I would have done it. That's a routine
100%.
flying ball, but I would have got it.
And you guys thought me saying mad bum pitching a game
No,
is ridiculous.
we have to try
That
it
is
now.
more ridiculous.
No, Chris Cody.
Than
and-
you catching a major league fly
Yes,
ball
a
during
routine
a
fly
game.
ball. Yes.
Do you have a relationship with the Marlins currently?
Yes.
Can we get into Lone Depot Park?
Start me in right
Yeah,
field
they
today.
have to.
And not during a game, obviously, when it's empty. And have
It's
someone
always empty.
hit you. True, so it could be during
If
a
we're
game.
talking off a fungo, I'll probably catch 10 out of 10. That's way more difficult. Like a fungo fly ball is
Not
easy.
a fungo fly ball.
You're saying like if
I
someone
want a
pitches
big
it,
league hitter, and I want you to be there for BP.
dude.
I
I would
want
love
you to-
that.
All right,
I would love
stop
that.
with the dudes. Okay, we got it. You think you could catch a routine fly ball. Congratulations, Athlete of the Year.
Thank you.
Let's test it with both punts and what you think are routine fly balls, because Chris is a high school baseball player, and he hit a single one time to the opposite field off Matt Latos, and he may be our finest athlete, although
My
Roy
gloves in my car.
got further in American Ninja Warrior.
And Tony thinks he is.
But please don't become your father while I'm still alive, okay, thinking that you can do everything in sports.
I mean, we're there.
Okay.
Not everything. Just that fly ball. I would have
Right.
caught that.
Yes.
That's it.
Okay.
This will be great to do it.
Yes, we
It's
should.
something
We will.
That, I always wanted to do.
And punt returns. I want to do punt returns with,
no one will catch
with
that.
11 guys coming at
You're
you.
going to find a special teams unit?
Yes.
I mean,
Metal Arc is going to rent a special teams unit. Yes.
just to run at us?
Yes.
Make it Berlin or Columbus high school team. Doesn't have to be a special teams unit.
Mike, what are you distracted by up there? What are you watching on
I'm
the
just
television?
learning Brooks Robinson wasn't dead for 40 years. And also, upset, he's white.
What?
No, you didn't know?
His
Yeah.
first name is Brooks.
Yeah, well, I don't know
He's
what that's
white?
supposed to mean. Yeah, Brooks Robinson is a white man that didn't die 40 years ago. He died yesterday. Rest in peace.
All-time great.
Chris, you didn't know either that Brooks
No, I
Robinson...
knew. I was just helping Mike out.
On that?
I didn't know.
Were you thinking of Frank?
I will tell
Well, that's
you,
the thing. They also had Frank, didn't they?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have
Different
both Brooks
people.
and Frank.
different people.
Yeah,
Much
no,
different
I'm
people.
Way
aware.
different.
Well, he's a little bit before my time. I didn't watch a lot of Brooks Robinson. I'm just finding out the man didn't die 40 years ago.
The human vacuum cleaner.
Don't tell me how to mourn.
He dies at 86 yesterday, and I do thank you for bringing it up, actually, because not only is he a legend from a different time, And I get a little uncomfortable when the 80-year-olds die in sports and people don't actually remember how great they were because, hey, it was before you cared about sports. All of you cared about sports. Roy, what do you? It was before you cared about sports too, Roy.
No. I know for a fact he was one of the best defensive third basemen of all time.
But you know it because you heard it, not because you saw him play.
No. I've seen the highlights. I've seen it.
Hang on.
I've
You've
seen
the
this week in
highlights,
baseball.
Roy?
I've seen all of
I
it.
apologize for being born in the 80s.
I don't need apology from you. The thing that I saw yesterday in the eulogizing of Brooks Robinson, which I don't think most sports shows are going to do, because once you get to a certain age, you got to be Bill Russell, or Jim Brown, or we won't do it correctly in the way that we eulogize you. But Baltimore, this is an athlete that matters to a city in a unique way. Baltimore's good at baseball again. He started them caring about baseball that way. Generations in Baltimore know that name, and the baseball there being played is the best it's been since maybe he was playing. I mean,
No, Cal Ripken.
They had some really
They
good
won a
teams in
World
the
Series
90s.
with Earl
20
Weaver.
years.
okay,
Yes.
but I'm
Al
great
Bummery.
teams in the 90s.
fair enough. But
Moose.
that city's history is such that when yesterday, this was my takeaway from the death of Brooks Robinson, because they got Jim Palmer to talk about it, he looks exactly the same. Jim Palmer does not age. Roy, I was startled. I'm like, that guy's got to be Brooks Robinson's age. How does he still look like when he was 30?
Same with me. I mean,
Just for everybody, just for everybody in the back and in the audience that isn't familiar with Jim Palmer, I am. But can you explain?
He's a beautiful model of a man.
He has a drink named after him.
He did. No, that's
Arnold.
Palmer.
Yeah.
He did underwear ads.
Yeah, he did underwear ads. Yes.
Jim Palmer is the underwear ad guy, and it was very controversial. He was a Major League Baseball player who did an actual, it may have been Hanes, where he was in his Hanes undies, and he had a great body, and he was a great pitcher. This is back when pitchers were pitching 250
But
innings
he was
a
a
year.
sex. He was a sex symbol.
He was
as
a
well.
sex symbol.
good calves. Or?
It was jockey.
You don't need good calves when you're a sex symbol.
Jim
The
Palmer.
people who say they have good calves are the people who have bad bellies.
Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show.
Distracting you.
Are the people who say they have good calves the people who have bad
It's probably
bellies?
beneficial for the good calves, honestly.
So you're saying Jim Palmer looks today like he did back in the 70s and
Check
80s,
it. Just
like Steve Garvey.
find the eulogy and you will laugh when you see what I am saying.
He's the anti-Sammy Sosa.
Jim Palmer is a name that might have fit in this sequence courtesy of the Braves television broadcast.
So the Braves will go from Johnson to Hand, and the batter will be Mastroboni. That's probably a good thing Jeff Francoeur's in the other booth.
That is a crazy sequence of events there. How do they go from Johnson to Hand to Master Boney? Play that again, please.
So the Braves will go from Johnson to Hand, and the batter will be Mastroboni. That's probably a good thing Jeff Francoeur's in the other booth.
That is a perfect sentence, broadcaster. I appreciate your rebellion.
Frenchie.
In the sacred sport of baseball, where no one will make a good masturbation joke. There it is
So the
for
Braves
you.
will go from Johnson to Hand, and the batter will be Mastroboni. That's probably a good thing Jeff Francoeur's in the other booth.
That's our guy, Hand. Remember him?
Yes.
As a Marlin?
Well, he wasn't good here, but he became an all-star when he left.
Well, we totally screwed his career.
Well, he became an all-star when he left. You
He
screwed his
still
career.
made good money, but he should have been a better starter, and we just brought him up too early and then ruined him by bringing him up and down and making him, his sphincter was this small because every time he gave up a hit, he'd be looking over, am I going to be sent down? And he was.
Was Master Boney on your draft board?
No.
I'm just blown away by the broadcast actually eloquently being able to say the sentence, get the joke off,
Yes.
and not break character, because that
Yes.
never happens
Yes.
on any of these
It
broadcasts.
is. I am telling you that I am ready to put this sequence with "Do You Believe in Miracles" as the
As you
best thing
should.
a broadcaster has ever had the good fortune of happening upon.
This Jim Palmer.
Yeah, he looks great.
Handsome devil.
Oh, it's jockey.
Yep. Jockey, yeah.
Yeah, he is very handsome, and I just can't believe that he doesn't age because
It's like
lost
Tom
in-
Berenger.
Get
Yes.
lost in those eyes.
Yes.
Mike,
Without the
yes.
dimple in his chin.
Tom Berenger, he looks like a much more fit, leaner, facially sculpted
Did
Tom
you not
Berenger.
watch The Substitute, where Mark Anthony was the rowdy high schooler?
Mark Anthony.
Yeah, he was. He was the guy that was feuding with Berenger. The Substitute was amazing.
I'm thinking of Major League era Berenger, bunt a hit and score Wesley Snipes from second base as someone shaped like Jake Berger.
A button run.
My wife saw Jake Berger the other day at third base and said, "Don't baseball players usually look different than that?" And I'm like, not anymore.
He's a player from yesteryear.
Oh, but he's a keg softball player. It's so good.
He's Kruk.
He should play third base with a beer in his hand. A can.
There's a local sports story outside of the Marlins that I wanted to ask David about, which was what happened at Hard Rock Stadium on Sunday, a historic performance from the Miami Dolphins, and Mike McDaniel decided to ease up at the very end, and your team, a former team president that sold ticket stubs after the fact to a perfect game. I'm wondering how a team president, if you were the team president
against
of Miami,
you, ticket stubs of Roy Halladay throwing a perfect game against you.
Put your team president hat on.
I can't tell if that was an insult or a compliment.
I mean, you decided to do it.
It's an insult that you did it.
Why?
Yeah.
Compliment from me. I mean,
Yeah.
Thank you.
How would David Sampson, the team president, process what Mike McDaniel did?
That's how badly I need allies.
That's right.
I have to say.
You were
Thank
so
you.
pleased that Stugotz supported you. So die and lie over here.
What?
This is
I'm
your
all alone
ally
in Studio
on.
B.
Put it on the poll, please, Juju, at Le Batard Show. Put it on the poll. Should you be very upset if Stugotz is your ally on anything?
You shouldn't say thank you.
I don't understand what's happening around here. What was happening in the studio you were beginning to say? You were doing Nothing Personal. We should tell everybody here that you should check out Nothing Personal on the Le Batard and Friends network. And Stugotz heard you singing Air Supply for some reason.
I was singing Air Supply.
Yes, you were.
I thought, did we not build soundproof studios?
It was so loud we can hear it.
Yeah.
Like we could hear you.
Did I interrupt the morning meeting?
We heard your show throughout our morning meeting. Yes, we could hear everything you were talking about.
I was not aware of that. I thought that the studio was soundproof.
It is, but someone left the door open in the other room where it was over the speaker. How would you have processed the Mike McDaniel thing?
So I'm going to give you an answer.
What happened to Air Supply? I mean,
You got to get the record. You absolutely have to score 73 points. And the reason is that you can monetize that, number one. Number two, in 6 months, no one remembers that you went for the field goal at the end to get it. What they have is the record forever, that you are the holder of scoring the most points ever. You're so close. And McDaniel said, we would let the record come to us, only we're not going to chase it. Well, that's horse hockey. Of course you chase records. That's the point of it, because then you get to be permanently remembered.
But when you talk about making money, the Dolphins, don't football teams do well? So, the Marlins would need to look for every avenue to generate revenue.
You're talking about a franchise that's lived off 1972 for 50 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but it's not like they're selling things for that every year.
Yes,
they totally are.
What are they selling?
Have you gone into the team store at all?
They do. Chris, your
Look
father.
right next
Chris,
to you.
Yeah, but he didn't just buy that.
Chris, your father.
You think he bought that in 1973?
Chris, your father has a book out right now
So
that
great.
was only written because they were perfect in 1972. 50 years of celebrating the Dolphins. Your father.
Okay.
I bought the shirt in 2021.
Put it on the poll, please, at Le Batard Show. Can you sell ticket stubs after the game to a perfect game thrown against you? How are you not embarrassed by that?
Not even a little.
attaboy.
That absolutely. I didn't say it. Learned my life. I was about to say it. I was going to go with gracias. Maybe a little merci.
How much did you guys make off of that stunt?
How much did your dignity cost you?
First of all, we actually bought some too because we wanted to jack up attendance.
There was
So
something.
proud of yourself.
There was something that Inter Miami did.
He wanted to fake the attendance numbers, so he sold tickets to a game that had already been played, a perfect game against them. God, that's
Hold on,
terrible.
it's way better. The number of people who bought the ticket stubs after the game was smaller than I would have liked. So we bought a bunch of them so we could announce that it was a huge number so as to make it a good idea.
How many do you have?
How much do you think it netted?
I have so many.
How much?
And I don't want to tell you where they are.
I want to
because
know how
they're
many.
so valuable.
How much did
Because
you?
he died.
How much?
I'm just.
Well, that's what happened.
Well,
just telling you.
Like a baseball card, the
wait.
value goes up so much when you get into the Hall of Fame or when you die.
Yes,
It does.
Thank you.
I'm
Thank
not
you.
saying I celebrate it.
Stugotz,
I'm just saying.
David's not laughing at Roy Halladay's misfortune.
I am not laughing.
Stugotz,
that he
Roy
died.
If you have
Halladay
a
died.
Brooks Robinson card, I mean, woo.
Stugotz.
Today's your day.
Stugotz. I can't decide who is more unpleasant in this room right now, given what is happening. Yes, Roy Halladay died. Yes, the first thing you noticed when Roy Halladay died shouldn't be, I have a lot of stubs to his perfect game that are worth a lot of money that went unsold because I couldn't, I was faking the numbers around the tickets. How much money did you make on the Roy Halladay tickets? What's the amount of money that your dignity cost you?
$30K.
Marlins need that. Marlins need the $30K.
They also could use some dignity, especially back then.
I am not willing to let go of this as a great idea.
All right. There was something that Inter Miami did that reminded me of
He
you.
died, but not you. You will not die on this hill.
Absolutely not.
What Inter Miami did that reminded me of David Sampson was a couple of years ago, they made the very bizarre decision. The logo was very well received. Pink was a color unique to them in the league, and they decided to trot out white uniforms that have since been purged and replaced by the home pinks. It was a terrible misstep by Inter Miami. Early on, they had a lot of those. But seizing an opportunity, they've decided to put Messi number 10 on the back of leftover white jerseys that Messi has never worn. And if you go to the team store, you'll see Messi number 10 on white jerseys that were largely hated by the fan base, a jersey that he never wore, and they are selling them at a premium. How proud are you of that?
How proud are you of that, to be a fan of a team that's actually being run like a business?
That's a bad look. It has since been aggregated. It's an embarrassing look to be selling something in the team store that he never wore. You're trying to get one over on a fan base. It's just not a great look.
It never even occurred to me that a player had to wear something to sell it. We would have players, and we'd put their names on an old Marlins jersey. A new Marlin we would put on the old teal.
Yeah, but you wear throwbacks. Like Jazz Chisholm is pictured inside wearing the teal uniform. Messi will never wear that white jersey.
Why?
It's left over from years ago.
Mike,
MLS changes jerseys. You're allowed to change one set every 2 years. So you'll get introduced one new kit. It's not like Europe where all the kits are replaced every year. MLS is different with Adidas. You get one new kit every year. We're talking about several years have passed since this. It's not a throwback that they'll wear again one day. It's just an old jersey that they had in the corner somewhere.
But you're paying Messi a lot of money. You can use his name and likeness however
Yes,
you
but-
want, and
but-
why not use it
no,
to sell
okay,
shirts that
so
weren't
if-
selling?
I'm not saying it's a bad business idea. I'm just saying it's the optics of it. Are
If I
pretty embarrassing.
may, okay, because this line to me is interesting where David resides on it, because I don't know if he actually is bad look, greedy, running sports and filing it under, hey, this is good business, get your romance away from me, I need to make $30,000. Don't tell me about how I'm cheapening this thing you care about. This thing I care about, if I'm Sampson, is a business I have to run that needs to make $30,000 because we don't have enough fans. And all of it's uncomfortable, but I don't know where the line is for David, if there's anything that you can say, Mike, that is a bad look if he can merchandise it. And you wanted this romance with your sports commerce, and he's like, it's commerce. Like, well, you want me to treat it like I'm not going to cheapen it because it's Messi? I paid Messi a lot of money. I got to make my money back. There is no cheapening it. I'm going to sell all the jerseys I can. I'm not going to protect his name with sacred candles the way you're doing it. I'm going to go grab an extra $1 if I can.
And why is it cheapening? Why are you using that word?
Because of how he cares about it emotionally and romantically.
Because it's very clear that there was just leftover, overstocked old jerseys that someone that thinks like David Sampson. I'm not saying that as an insult. So, all right, we've been paying to just stock this stuff. Let's purge this stuff, slap a number 10 on it, and we have this new revenue stream. It's pretty smart, especially since a lot of the people that are buying Messi merch aren't necessarily legacy Inter Miami fans, if there is even such a thing. It's a bunch of people that are there for the show, that are there for the sparks and the shiny new thing, and they don't know that Messi never wore that jersey. They'll
Nor
just
do they
buy
care.
that.
That's the point, is they don't care. And what's the downside? It doesn't change your.
They've been embarrassed by it.
I don't actually.
David, the downside
they say
is
they're embarrassed because you want them.
There
to
have been they have
exactly.
cut some corners. I don't know what happened with the PA announcer, but they let go of the PA announcer. A new person's in there, and it kind of sounded minor league. The PA announcer didn't even say players' last names when they were getting subbed in and out. He tripped over his own players' names. They are cutting some corners while they have absolutely improved on the presentation. There's all sorts of pyro.
I've got to tell you, though, I really do. It's never been this crystal clear to me on how it is that David views sports versus how even someone like Mike, who is an adult, still cares unreasonably and emotionally about sports. You ask, what difference does it make? How many things I'm cheapening, Mike? You lost Mike as a Marlins fan. That's what the cost is. Mike used to care about that team. He does not anymore because what that team did was so corporate. Because it cheapened South Florida. 2 championships they win, and everything that surrounds you is killing that. And you do it matter-of-factly. It's why I love having you talk here, because it's like, here's how they all do it, people. I'm just the one telling you. They all do it this way. I'm surrounded in the big leagues in the suites by me's everywhere. They all do it, but the rest of them are better at hiding it. And he's giving you all the secrets. Baseball hates David now. David is an outcast. He is a pariah in baseball. People he thought were his friends in baseball are no longer his friends.
Is that accurate, David?
Do you have information?
Yes.
What, that he's hated?
I have information that his friends in baseball don't like what he is doing outside of baseball. And you know that. I'm not telling you something you don't know.
But, of course, you're not just talking to me right now.
That's correct.
It's a private conversation.
I just wanted to. Sometimes we try in the show
There
to
are
make
no
it
private-
seem
there-
like there's private conversations,
No,
and then all of a sudden
there are no
we're
private-
live.
there are no
What do you
private
think has
conversations.
hurt? Not that you like who you were and you've made some growth since leaving your post, but what do you think has hurt your ability to get back in the game if you wanted to? The experience that you had down here in South Florida and how you were successfully made out to be a villain, and you played your role in that too. I'm not absolving you of that. Or what you're doing in the media space.
The latter. So what baseball likes and what many people like is that the secrets remain secrets because they believe they insult you. The irony is that you think I'm the one who's ruined it for you, and I actually view it differently. I respect you as a fan now more than I ever did as a team president and more than anybody in any sport job does, because I'm willing to tell you really what's happening and then let you make your own decision. And you may not like it, but don't you want to know how the sausage is made?
I appreciate the clips that I see of Nothing Personal with David Sampson. There is an honesty, and sometimes it lands very cerebrally, and it's hard to process. And honestly, you could do a lot with messaging in terms of saying, this is how I used to think. I think you'd do yourself a lot of favors if you detach yourself from the corporate think, because when you deliver it in such a blunt fashion, it's almost as if you still believe those things with conviction. So I'm producing you here live on the air.
He believes in making money, Mike.
I
He
understand.
believes in
I know, I
running a
understand,
business. He believes in
but
capitalism.
But it doesn't do him any favors. If
Mike
we're
is talking about
likability.
where your likability is on how it is that you get listeners when you're telling the truth.
David cares.
David almost said thank you again to Stugotz.
Well,
I saw
Stugotz,
it.
I'm not
I learned my
surprised.
lesson.
I'm not surprised in any way that your every angle is that David should grab as much money as he can, take no one's advice from any angle, because sports is greed and corporate greed wins. I understand what your viewpoint is on this, but we just had a conversation between a man who was in power and a child fan who died somewhere, killed by the way he ran that baseball team.
He's very much still alive, by the way.
No, but you know, the child in Mike is a sports fan. However that felt about the Marlins, man, that was his favorite team. He'll tell you all about Jeff Conine, Mr. Marlin, who played for 9 teams.
All this because of Josh Johnson.
It was a broken. Again, we're gonna do this again, but
the Toronto trade.
It was a Toronto trade because they said that
we won.
the days of nickel and diming and being this transient franchise that you couldn't have an attachment to players were done.
Over 10 years ago.
No, I understand, but I'm just explaining to the audience because we do have new listeners, some. And I'm trying to explain to them because I'm trying to be more inclusive. That's where you guys lost me. And when you look at it, it's just a drop in a bucket. In fact, they won that trade. But what it signified to fans that rallied behind this cause to help use some public funds to build a stadium. It stung, and I felt like I got.
To get back to the original point, though, putting Messi on the back of white jerseys is not going to stop a single person from going to see Lionel Messi play in Miami.
Well, the important thing here and the difference between what Dave did and what Inter Miami is doing is the name on the back is Messi. If David brought to town Mike Trout, I think we'd let it slip. The name that they're putting on the back that they're trying to squeeze every dime out of is Messi, arguably the greatest player ever. I get it.
And you don't want it cheapened as well. But I would say to you, Billy, to me, this part's really interesting locally, okay? The Marlins have been fighting for so long to get this region's attention. And fandom still doesn't work down here. This is a good week of baseball. The last month of baseball is people who care about baseball really care about what's happening. They can't draw a crowd. Why? Because you killed Mike and you've killed the hope in Billy. Billy's just scared of everything. They're going to trade his shortstop during the game today. Billy is so scarred.
I would take a trade of the shortstop.
Billy is so scarred and scared that he's scared to care about this team again because every time these guys have cared about this team, David, every time they've cared about this team, it's felt like betrayal, so it's hard to trust that you can enjoy something.
You guys are putting a lot on David. You're welcome.
It's a joke. Can you get over? Are you blaming me for the small crowds the last week of the Marlins season?
I'm just saying.
You do have something to do with that.
Oh my,
David, I'm simply saying that the way this team has run, you lost at least Mike. I don't know when the last time he was at a game, so he'd be he'd be in a crowd.
This season.
He's also in a daily Marlins chat that is very irritating.
Mike is fine. Billy's not scared.
I need to be in that chat so I can follow the sport because,
with
look, I in this back row, there are 3 passionate Marlins fans, and I would like to meet their excitement because a playoff run in that sport is really fun. I feel nothing. It's just that's how I know. I know it when the Browns lose on Monday night in laughable fashion that it doesn't stay with me. I know. I'm over that. And I don't care in the slightest. I want my friends to be happy. I'll watch the playoff series, but I'm dead silent in that chat because I don't know what's going on because I don't
Jesus
care.
Luzardo doesn't get your juices flowing?
I don't know who that is.
You know that as you get older,
from Parkland.
As you get older, it is not unheard of that your affinity decreases as you get distracted by life. As you are a parent, as you are running a company.
Oh, no, I have to be more judicious with my bandwidth, as I've coined that. But when the Browns got taken off my plate, I just took that portion of care and I applied it to an existing passion that was there for the Miami Hurricanes. I haven't stopped being a Miami Heat fan. Now, I would like them to get a superstar. For once, land the whale. But
for once,
I can't believe
land the whale.
All they
land
do
the
is
whale.
They're about to lose them.
Can we land the whale?
For once.
Can we land the whale?
Yeah.
I mean, we hear these tales of Pat Riley. I mean, do
Great.
something.
Just please. He's doing everything that you could possibly want for the super. Land the whale.
If he was the godfather of an actual mafia, I mean, jeez.
Land the whale.
Do you know why
I love
don't
the
care
Panthers.
about fans?
Look, the Panthers
Because
still,
of this.
dude. The Panthers did plenty to shake me off the branch, and I'm still here.
Land
I'm
the
like a little
whale.
kitty cat hanging onto that thing.
I hope I don't wake up dead.
This is what you lost, though. To me, it's funny. There are a number of things I want to get to with Samson, including Manfred talking openly about, we'll have a simulcast one day where you just touch your screen and make bets.
Oh, that's awesome.
We're going to do that soon. I want to talk about that, Bad Ally.
This is a little unfair what we do to David. We come here, we're
How
talking
about
about
me?
Marlins, and it's just like it always gets back to David. This is all your fault.
No, but we can do. Listen,
It's not, Dave.
here.
He did have the ridiculous take
Thank
that
you.
he says he has nothing to do with the crowds at Marlins Park, and that's not true.
My point on this, man, I can't make it more obvious than this. Samson ran a team in this market coldly, professionally, tried to make money, and did at the end $1.2 billion. Bleep you, Miami, at my 50th birthday. In there,
The big 5-0.
in there, Mike Ryan grew up baseball in this town. We were major league. We got baseball. Billy grew up here. Roy grew up here. Chris grew up here. Mike Ryan still consumes emotionally, unreasonably, an unusual amount of sports. The Marlins don't make the cut for him. They don't. He does not know that they have a hard-throwing lefty who throws 96 miles an hour, starts games, and is going to be their second starter in the playoffs if they make it, because he's stopped caring. And if you've lost him, you've killed something that has value, because it's not just him.
No, Mike's had to make choices as he gets older, and he loves soccer, and he loves the Panthers, and he loves the Heat and the Canes,
He
and he
can
likes
speak for
football.
himself.
I can. Yes, thank you, Dan.
That's part of it.
No. It wasn't because.
Mike, you're not that scarred from what David did. I mean, come on.
What?
I
No,
mean,
I've
please.
just look. I know you're a pathological liar on the air, but I'm being truthful when I say he killed my passion with that one move, and he knows it. And we've had several conversations about that off the air. He knows exactly why. No, it's not because I've gotten older and my daughter replaced the Marlins. It's because I flatly don't care anymore.
And that hurts to say this week, because Chris and Jeremy and Billy, it's the biggest week since when in baseball? Like, when's the last time? Was it when David owned them in 2003?
Well, during the pandemic, they made that playoff run.
Yeah. But in a run after 162 games where
they won a series that playoffs.
Yeah,
I
but
mean,
you
want to discredit it, but it was.
Well, they were just 30 and 31 that season, some mutant season. Fair enough, but it didn't feel like this.
I mean, but we celebrate the Heat championship that same season, or them making to the finals.
They didn't win the G.
Yeah.
The Marlins actually were in the playoff race in 2014, 15, 16, right before Jose died.
Not the last week.
Yes.
They're a half game out.
Oh, I'm aware. Yeah, we had A.J. Burnett going against Roger Clemens in Houston, and we couldn't get that done. In 2000.
I don't think we were within a game, though. I think
they
we needed a crazy week to get into it.
This is amazing. I only wish there had been a third wild card my whole career. That would have been nice.
That is great. That third wild card edition has changed the sport completely, and it's made so many more fans have to pay attention this final week. So many more teams like the Mets have to play in meaningful games where they can be spoilers. But this is you can look at 2020, right? And you can look back at that run in that final week and winning in Yankee Stadium and how special that felt to clinch a postseason berth. But there were no fans there, and it did feel obviously different. It meant something different to all of us given the circumstances. But when you look at that series, that doesn't feel anything like what this feels like. After 162 games to come down to this final week, it is an unbelievably emotional time as a Marlins fan.
And just following along in the group chat, it seems like there have been several moments this season where that was it. That was a wrap. That season's over. And they would lose the game after you guys said season's over. And they would lose again after that. And then 2 weeks later, I'm inexplicably learning about call-ups and injuries, and I'm confused as to why we're still caring.
It's a shame that you haven't cared about this team, because narratively it's been such a fun season where they've overcome injuries, they've overcome their Cy Young Award winner having a bad year overall. In the grand scheme of it, now he's injured, he's out. They had a stud come up who then they had the managing of innings, and how does that work out? Now he's hurt, he can't be there for the playoffs. All these plucky guys, a guy who was chasing a batting title, hitting 400, a mammoth of a home run hitter. There's all these unbelievable storylines with this team. They remind me of the 2003 team that would be a team you'd be so passionate about, and yet there's nothing there because what passion is left?
Actually, this situation reminds me of when the Panthers beat the Maple Leafs. That stretch towards the end of the season, they just came right back and they made the playoffs. I think the Marlins can do the same here.
You know what can bring me back? You guys sign a Master Boney. If I can buy a Master Boney jersey, I'd be down.
Here's the thing, though. You're only hurting yourself. You know what I mean? By choosing not to partake in what's going on, you're only missing out and costing yourself this.
You're making you're posing.
You're not doing anything to David or current Marlins regime.
No, I'm not.
You're missing out on a fun time.
No, that's fair. But you're posing it as if I'm making an active choice. I feel nothing. I'm not making a choice. I just keep on living my life.
Well, and that was the conversation I was having with a lot of people around the Marlins going into the final week here, where attendance was lacking during the week and then ultimately had a decent weekend. They were questioning, why aren't people here? This has been a fun season. We've offered everything. We've offered every deal. We've offered, $5 burgers for Jake Berger, all of these different things. Why aren't people showing up? And my argument to them was...
They did for Burger Day, I feel like.
Sure. But my argument to them to get people consistently at the end of the year was, you got to do it again with the same core and show people that you're not just going to get rid of these names that they've fallen in love
and the
with.
Dolphins need to not score 70.
Well, that
and
also.
The Heat need to not make it to the finals. Like, it's just everything was working against the Marlins.
It is crazy.
And Messi needs to not be.
Messi needs to not be here. You know, your all-star can't twist his ankle on a ball in batting practice. You can't lose all of your starting rotation. I mean,
when
there's
they
just things that are happening that it's like, can the Mets take care of their field? Can anyone be professional? Like, what is going on here?
When they had the local
I feel
sports
like
calendar.
locusts are coming today at this doubleheader today.
When they had the local sports calendar to themselves, Inter Miami signed the greatest soccer player ever.
Billy, prediction.
They're making it, Dan.
No, today, double.
They're winning 3 games today, Dan.